Hello, hello, hello. It is Davonne Reaves, the queen of hotels. And I have a very special guest for my 5th and 28th show, Rajal Patel. Did I get it?
Yeah, I think you got it.
Yes, I've been practicing to make sure that I get it right. We have a hotelier here, and he's going to give us some stories, some tips.
Okay.
So my audience and people who listen, they're trying to get into the hotel industry, right?
Okay.
They're trying to either become a hotel owner, maybe even some of our hotel owners, they're thinking about it.
Okay.
In your experience.
Okay.
And so you're just gonna give us, I call it the hospitality tea.
Okay. I'll try my best.
You're gonna So how long have you been in the hospitality industry?
So pretty much I'm like a 3rd generation hotelier.
Yeah.
My parents and grandparents immigrated here from India.
Yeah.
And they've been here for a long time. My father, I guess he came here to go to college back in the 1960s, I think it was what it was, a long time ago.
Uh-huh.
And then my uncle, he was an engineer.
Yeah.
He actually was hired by the Walt Disney Company, and then he came here to Orlando to work on the Epcot Center project.
Okay.
So he was a structural engineer, you know, the Epcot ball and all that?
Of course, yeah.
So that was all his structural design. So
Wow,
he
that's
worked
amazing.
on that project.
Yeah.
And he just saw the size and the scope of Walt Disney World and Epcot.
Right.
That he told all his brothers and sisters, wherever you're at or whatever you're doing, just move down to Florida now and start going into hotels. So yeah, I was pretty much born in Orange County and we've been here ever since.
Ever since. So was that all you do is hotels?
You know, it's funny, I think everyone that kind of are told they have to do something, they run away. So I was trying to run away. I didn't really initially want to go into hotels. So
I get that. I understand that. Especially being born in it. It's a tough industry.
And nothing comes easy. I'll tell you that I was born in it. The first memories I have of living in a house was living on a motel. We cleaned rooms. We were working on weekends. We were running the night shift, the day shift.
Overnight shift too?
Yeah. I mean, it's a 24-hour business. So I think the first time I ever lived off of a hotel is when I went to college and I lived in an apartment in college. Other than that,
how was that?
It was amazing.
You was I get to go to sleep.
I get to actually sleep and not clean rooms all the time. So yeah, it was different. I loved it. And I got my degree in political science from the University of Florida.
Okay.
I think the first job I had was working as an intern for Senator Bob Graham.
Okay.
I was working Capitol Hill in his international security and international trade division.
Politics.
I got to live there in DC and get a chance to write 2 laws that
is amazing.
passed through the Congress.
Can you share the laws?
Yeah, so they were actually, at the time, it was pretty much there for reparations for war veterans that were not getting paid by, the foreign governments. So we wrote the laws, actually passed both the House and the Senate, and ultimately through the White House. And
how did that make you feel?
it was amazing. I mean, even I got job offers afterwards to work there in DC.
Yeah.
But at the same time, my parents told me, look, you have an obligation to us. You finished your college 4-year degree, and now you got to come home and start, working at the hotel. So that's when I came back.
You had a little taste of freedom.
Yeah. It was nice. But, at the same time, we all have obligations in life.
Right.
And this is what I kind of came back to. And I love it now. I mean, clearly, I'm in the business still.
Yeah.
And, it's really rewarding being able to be with your family and everything else like that. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah. So how many hotels are in your portfolio now?
We have a good number. We have a number out there. But, frankly, it's it's a 3rd generation now, so it's different ways you can run them. So my thing is that we have our initial few hotels that we purchased years and years ago. My wife and I just bought, a hotel literally, I think this month.
Congratulations.
It was a lot of fun. And nothing comes easy and fast. It takes a long process to get there. So let's talk today about, some of the things that we looked at in picking up these newest assets.
Yeah.
So the first thing I'll tell you is that you have to take your tour of the asset. You have to walk the property. You have to check, inside out, but more so than anything else at all, it's all about the team that you work with. Mm-hmm. So nothing is just a solo venture.
Right.
Even today here at LendingCon, and I hope you all get a chance to check out this conference in the future, they talk about your team that you're going to have around you. Right. So things from your bookkeeper to your attorney to your lender, all the other departments that go into it. It's amazing how many different things that you never think about until you buy a business. Even your insurance broker, something you never really think about.
Right.
that person is such a critical component to
That you
owning a
need.
hotel.
Now, before we even get to touring the hotel, where do you go to look for hotels to buy?
Excellent question. So, having a great network of brokers is so critical.
Hotel brokers, right?
Hotel brokers. Yeah. It's different than a home broker or a strip mall broker. There's so many different brokers out there. But come to these conferences, meet with the various brokers which are out there. Even the other day, my wife and I were looking for deals for literally over a decade. We're looking for the right deal to pick up. We haven't bought a hotel in over 10 years. And we literally just picked up, this small portfolio of them. And the reason being is that having a broker reach out to you and tell you about the deal is it's just an important thing to do. And trust me, we were looking at hotels and taking tours for weeks and months, but you also have to understand the numbers. So even listening to sessions today, they were talking about that over and over again. Like, you have to know your numbers. You have to have reserve capital ready to deploy. You have to be able to understand how you're going to turn the asset around. These are such critical things that anyone that wants to buy a hotel out there, you have to know inside out. Now, I can tell you right now that AI is a critical, amazing skill that's out there, the amazing tool that's out there.
Right, yeah.
You have to be able to ask these right questions. So take your numbers in, run through AI, and then ask the critical questions like, what's it going to take for me to turn this around? Where do you see issues? Where do you see questions about even the profit loss statement? Do you see something is wrong in these projections of this portfolio? There's so many things to ask about.
Yeah, I actually have an AI program in summer that asks those questions. So I'm glad that you brought that up. Now, let's take a step back. What is your buy box, or what do you recommend for people to start off if they're want to become a hotel for the first time? Like, what should their investment thesis be, or how should they even come up with their own investment thesis to get started before they even get to the broker?
Okay, so there's so many different ways you can look at it. It's funny, like a few years ago, I bought into a partnership and I thought, this is great. This is an amazing group, and they have so many assets around the world, and they're like, oh. But the problem is that, like, in the deal itself, there were questions sometimes, am I even get my money back out again? Like, we were in this deal for 5 years, and now I'm being told that, hey, you know what? We can get you back your initial investment. I'm thinking, my initial investment, if I put in the S&P market, I would at least have gotten 10% on it annually.
Right.
So know if or whom you're going to do a deal with. Just don't go on a whim with that. I can also tell you that, sometimes just doing a deal yourself is not a bad thing, but if you're not sure if it's going to go somewhere, it's not bad looking at other people. But ask lots and lots of questions. Like, say, hey, if you want me to invest with you, do you mind if I talk to some of your other people that you've done deals with in the past? There's always, critical questions you should look at, like, know who you're investing with, like, talk to other people that have deals with them. Get the good and bad, the ugly, understand, like, if a deal went south, you ask them, why did it go south? If you ever had a deal go south or not. There's so many questions you can ask out there.
Now, do you recommend first-time hotel owners to get into limited service, select service, economy? What types of hotels do you recommend?
Okay, so even today they're talking about economy hotels. Like, well, it's going to be the lowest threshold to get in. You're going to put the least amount of money into a limited service in the economy hotel. But right now, with the economy the way it's going, it's also having the biggest heartache right now. Luxury is the fastest growing space right now. They're having the highest amount of returns. They're having the highest amount of growth. It seems like they're talking about this 10 years ago, how the rich are getting richer, and that has had an immediate impact on the luxury market. But at the same time, there's going to be some super high barriers to entry to luxury. And plus, like last time the market completely crashed, they took the biggest dive. So you got to think about that. I mean, I'm looking right now at, entry-level luxury brands. I mean, upper mid-scale would be the best place to look at. And they've always been strong, and they continue to be strong. So Marriott and Hilton, they want to get more and more members in their portfolios. So they have great brands out there like Fairfield and Hampton. They also have brand new things like City Express and Spark. So they're trying to expand their portfolio when it comes to things like that. And those are great brands to invest in if you have the capital available. And there are great groups to talk to about finding partners.
So what are things that newcomers should avoid?
Whenever someone comes up to you and says, hey, I got a great deal for you, don't avoid it. Look at the numbers, look at everything, but don't get passionate about a deal off of pure emotion. Everything should be metrics. Everything should be with numbers. And if you don't know the right answers, if you're getting the right answers, the right questions to ask, find someone that's seasoned that can show you the right numbers.
Yeah.
If you're not sure who to talk to, I'm sure you have a great portfolio of people that can talk to.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So
yeah.
never feel shy or scared to ask people questions.
In the comments who you can contact.
Never at all feel that you can't find the right people to ask to. If you have capital ready to go, and if you want to invest. But the best piece of advice is like, you should invest in you. If you have money to go, if you have been saving for a while, you should feel that you have the tenacity and the intellect and the ability to go to the bank, to go to the SBA, to ask for a loan and buy that first deal yourself. And if you don't have the whereabouts to get all the answers you need, get the education that you need. There's so many courses out there. There's so many websites out there. There's so many ways you can learn about how to run and own a business, and you should do it. And if you're young and if you have time to go back to school, do it. I will tell you that, even living on a hotel, and we're not in the best parts of town, I was able to get my 4-year degree. I was able to go back multiple times, get post degrees. I was able to go back and get my MBA. You have to make time for these things. And there's always going to be an excuse saying, I got bills, I got this. We all have bills. We all have this. We all have that. But you can make the time. I mean, I did an executive program. I had to make the time, but it was coming from some of the best schools or the best networks. And that's what you're really going to college for. If you go to school, go to the best and get those networks. And those people are going to be the ones that you're going to lean on.
Yeah.
I still go back and talk to my college buddies all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And get these ideas.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned numbers, right? So understanding ADR, average daily rate, RevPAR, revenue per available room, NOI, net operating income, those type of numbers. For folks to understand, is the hotel profitable?
Yes.
Right? Can you come in and turn this hotel around if you bring in a management company or if you operate it yourself? So let's go into like the financial structure. Like, what are some of ways that you would recommend for first time folks to get in from a financial standpoint? Like whether it's using like SBA loans, like what do you think would be some good tips that you could provide?
Now, you mentioned a great thing right now. You mentioned management company. So I would say for a first-time hotelier, if you don't want to crash or go down the wrong path, a management company is awesome. Yeah. Especially a reputable management company that has experience in that town, in that area. Yeah. All management companies are not alike. There are very large ones. There are very small ones. They're boutique ones. They're like ones that actually have a lot of knowledge. Now, don't 150% rely on them for everything, because a lot of people do. One of the assets I just picked up was a forced sale, and it was being operated by the management company. It traded hands like 2 or 3 times between management companies. So there were issues that happened. But you know what? That doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing. You had to get the story behind everything. And that's what requires you to be able to look at the numbers, look at the books, or hire someone for that. And that's why you have professional services out there, like amazing bookkeepers and amazing CPAs. And
because it's a multi-million-dollar asset, right? And so if you're making that type of investment, regardless if it's just your funds or you're working with partners, either way, it's a significant investment that you want to bring on professionals, like you said, to help you manage and operate that asset so it can be profitable.
You mentioned to me earlier saying that I want to see more Black people own hotels.
I do.
You did say that earlier, right?
I do.
And I say there's amazing groups out there like NABHOOD, the National Association of Hotel Owners and Developers, right? Operators, owners, developers. So you'll find people part of that group that have a lot of experience in these things, and you want to work with them. I'd also tell every last person out there that you should own a business in some way before you go really, really big. Bold into a hotel.
I agree.
It can be something as small as a restaurant. It can be something as small as a UPS store, but you want to be able to understand how to look at a P&L, like a report sheet, all these different things you have to look at. I also mentioned too, that was actually, it all goes on network. I'm not a consultant out there, so I'm not doing this for a fee.
Right.
But I do have people coming to me all the time, especially being with like LendingCon for 6 years now, being on the board. Like, hey man, I really need some help with them though. I say, okay, let's get a few things together and give me your story. Let's figure things out. And this one guy, he's like, he has a completely free and clear hotel. I don't know how it happened, but it's a free and complete. He has no loan on it at all, but he can't get a loan for even $20,000 right now.
Why?
And he needed a loan just to fix his roof. He can't get one. So I kind of mentioned to him that, look, let's figure out what's going on here. In the end, he had a wrecked like complete terrible, I guess, credit rating. He was running like tens of thousands of dollars against his credit card, making the minimum $15 payments, making the payments late sometimes.
Okay.
Some severe things to mess up his credit. And then on top of that, just showing no income at all. And I kind of mentioned to him, owning a hotel. Like he would show me that he had no like profits coming through.
Okay.
And I guess I understand because, you know, he can't get a $20,000 loan right now, but just terrible bookkeeping, just a lot of issues like that. So I can tell you right now, like if you're trying to get a loan out there, have immaculate books, show everything. You can have a high expense and a high return if there's a story behind it. Let me tell you a story. Like for example, let's say you buy a hotel and you have an amazing brand. Like let's say it's Fairfield by Marriott or, you know, City Express by Marriott, and you buy it and there's a huge PIP behind it as well, product improvement plan.
Property improvement.
So you got to change the furniture out. You got to change out like the carpets in the rooms. You got to maybe even do some bathroom upgrades. If you are making a lot of money, like let's say, just get a round number out there. Let's say you're making $1 million and you're having like 30,000, 300,000 of that going towards, you know, like labor, and you're having like all these other income coming in, other expenses coming in, but you're also putting money towards the renovation. You can say, look, there's a story here. Like I'm making $1 million, but by doing this renovation and everything, I can go up to 2 or 3 million.
Right.
And that's where my expenses are going. It's a great story to a lender saying, okay, fine. If I give some more money to these guys, they'll be able to make their payment on time because they're making their bill payments, etc.
Exactly.
Those are things that you need to do.
You mentioned before, and I actually like that because a lot of times the people who I meet, they want to jump straight into the hotel ownership business, which is, like you said, is very capital intensive, right? And if you don't really understand how to operate a business, it's very hard to do so. So what other, you mentioned restaurants, UPS stores, any other, before we were talking about storage units. What about like laundromats? What about short-term rentals? What are some type of business you think would be good, like as a precursor, or even like multifamily before people get into the hotel business? Look,
you know, I have a great friend that has been an engineer for the U.S. Navy for decades. And he has a lot of us as friends that, you know, own small businesses. And he's like, look, I only get 2 weeks off a year paid. And the rest of the time, like I'm on deck. I have to work all these different hours. And he's like, you know, I just don't know what I'm going to do about my retirement. I don't know what I'm going to do about my kids when their time comes, when they have to go to college, et cetera, my expenses and everything else. So he's like, I want to own a business. So what do I do to own a business? And, you know, he has owned a few homes now, and, you know, he rents them out, and, you know, he's able to pay his mortgage down, et cetera. That's a safe and a great way of doing it with his time. But he's like, I really, really want to own a business. So I said, okay, fine. There's a few things you should go to, because I didn't want to influence him either going to hotels or storage. I'd like, let's just send you to 2 or 3 conferences or here in Orlando. They're like really inexpensive ones that he can go to from 20 to 30 bucks. And trust me, like once you put it out there in Google that you're looking for something in a simple Google search or a Facebook search or whatever, you'll start getting all these ads for these different conferences coming in. You want to go to one. You want to go to various conferences for various industries. There's so many out there. And when you go there, you want to find something you resonate with. The only true way to succeed at a business is truly being passionate about that business. Like, look, my parents, when they're in this game, like they were working 7 days a week. We were not taking vacations. Like even they had their own kids, like forget about the after school activities. We were rushing back home to like, you know, work the asset. And that's all I knew. So like, we know every single thing about a business when it comes to the hotel business with smaller, you know, economy, mid-scale assets. And that's what I'm telling you as well. Like, if you really want to get into anything at all, be passionate about it. And even when it comes to owning that first small business, like this guy, he's done so many birthday parties at this like pottery painting place that he ended up actually starting up one of those. He actually is building that asset from ground up. He actually took an empty space in a strip mall and he built out the entire business. And now he's doing phenomenal. Like he loved the business, he loved the concept. Now he's going to chamber of commerce meetings. He's putting up ads on on the baseball fields at, you know, in different high schools. And he just really knows what it's going to take to grow that business because he's been to so many small events of that business. And that's the thing about franchising. I went to a session earlier today where I guess a lender was speaking, and it was SB speaking. They're like, look, if you get a franchise, it's the fastest way to the growth because franchises give you the playbook.
They do.
They give you the manual on how to make that business successful. And I want to tell you all the same thing too. If you really, really want to own a small business, go to something you're passionate about and you really want to grow.
Right. And a lot of people, I hear a lot of people, they want to become entrepreneurs, but they don't realize that franchising is a form of entrepreneurship.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Hotels is a franchise. Like a lot of people don't even think that hotels are franchises. Like you mentioned UPS and, Jersey Mike's and Jimmy John's and all of these different franchising business. Because one thing we haven't talked about is the capital that you need.
Yes.
Right. We talked about the financing a little bit, but it's like, okay, but you're going to need a down payment, that equity portion to even get the loan.
Right now we're going through the whole loan process and every last dollar had to be scrutinized. They want to know where this money came from in your account, where you grew it from, we want to see your tax returns. They want to see immaculate books.
Bookkeeping.
Everyone, I'm going to tell you a simple thing. Anyone that owns a business, the fastest, so number one in America, in order to create wealth, you got to leverage debt. So you can take your capital and you have to leverage debt. So you have to get that loan to borrow against putting that capital up, and then you can buy a business off that. I can also tell you that the only way you can leverage debt to get a loan is having amazing books. Like you have to show everything, your growth. You have to pay your taxes. It's that simple.
Yeah.
If you want to get a loan, pay your taxes. Now, even beyond that, like there's a thing called depreciation. So like, let's say you said you dabble in Airbnbs, right?
We have a short-term rentals and
right?
midterm rentals. Yeah.
Okay. So when you go to that apartment complex or the short-term rentals, you can do something called accelerated depreciation, which means that you're now accelerating the depreciation against all your furniture and et cetera that's inside that house. But, even the lender today told me, he goes, look, you can still do depreciation against all your assets. The big thing is that you have to make sure you show a clean record of all that, like how you did it, that, you're taking capital and you're using it towards renovations and you're using it towards its depreciation. That's where all this capital came from. That's where all that capital leapt to. All these things have to be in there. So that's just a very
And the same thing for hotels.
Oh yeah, I mean when you have 100 rooms and you have like 100 air conditioners and you have 2 beds per room and you have 200 beds and you have furniture and et cetera, all that stuff gets to get written off against your taxes, but you have to show that whole story.
You have to show the story, and that's where the bookkeeping.
That's very true, and that's the biggest thing. I'm going to urge you all, if you're having really bad books or very bad tax returns, pay a little extra money, find yourself that tax return with that right person. And get it together. Another thing I can tell you all is that make those networks and those friendships. Even at this conference right now, they're telling people to kind of meet, commingle, talk to people.
They have like the lending lounge, which is great.
Lounge.
Yeah.
Correct. Even earlier, when I first walked in and saw you guys, walk up to perfect strangers, shake their hand, introduce yourself. It's such an important thing to do, and keep in touch. Text each other, email each other, check each other on LinkedIn.
Right.
All these things are critical to people. Skill staff.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Raj.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time during LendingCon to speak to me and to speak to us and others about the hotel industry or hotel ownership and hotel business and just sharing some really good information. So I really do appreciate you.
I just mention one more thing.
Please.
People have been asking me all day,
yes,
if you had to build or buy, you actually asked me earlier, should I get into economy or mid-scale?
Yeah.
It's all about the deal.
There you go.
It's all about the deal and where it is and what it's going to cost. Like some people say, okay, I found this hotel deal where it's like less than $100,000. It just needs a little bit of rubbing, elbow grease, and I can fix it up and all that. The bigger thing is that, is there people in that area that's going to actually want to stay in that hotel, and you'll be able to make your payments, etc.
Right.
It's all about the deal. Then on top of that, sometimes you get a forced sale that kind of comes across your lap. Like I got, it was a forced sale by a lender. The numbers were great. I just knew that this deal would work out. So my thing to you is that it should never be about the brand. It should never be about, hey, I just want to own something. It should always be about.
How did you know that deal wasn't going to work out for you? Was it it wasn't profitable enough, or was it the location? It wasn't enough demand generators? Why didn't that deal work?
There was a deal one time that I saw that was it's even on the market right now. I just know that all the hotels around it, all the owners have almost no loan on the property right now. So they can dump rate, which they do all the time. And this asset is on an exit that's just dead.
Yeah.
And that they only are, performing only for a few months of the year. So I just looked at it and say, you know what? I just don't need to be in something that's going to take me 20 years to finally, you know, be profitable because I'm going to take every single dollar I make and just work for the bank payments. It's just not worth it.
It doesn't
and,
make
you know,
sense,
at the same time, I'm not going to be behind the counter renting the rooms because it's in a different town. My kids live in this town, you know, and they go to school here. So, you know, you have to look at things like that. You have to look at the deal. If you're on the fence about it, don't feel shy to ask the people what they would do. And, you know, also, if you have the right close friendships, you want to be able, you should know enough that they're not going to steal the deal away from you. You can just be very careful with them and say, hey, you know, please don't take this deal away from me because I worked so hard to find it. I just really need your knowledge on like what you think about these numbers. And, you know, say if you do end up taking the deal away from me, let's just never talk together. Never talk again. Because I really need this deal bad for my portfolio. And, you know, just talk about it. That's that simple.
Or the deal was, I always look at it, the deal just wasn't for me. We were looking at it, I was looking at a deal in South Carolina. And like you were mentioning, the deal, well, one, the deal was abandoned. They were converting it to a brand. But the other hotels on that exit, they were all abandoned. So like, and it was nothing on the exit. It was dead. It was just a gas station.
It's so many times that happens. Like I was looking at one property where the guy, like it changed hands over and over again because whoever gets into it just gets so inundated with expenses. And it was on a dead exit. And I literally drove and like one exit later, it was like completely packed and slammed full.
That's how this deal was.
Sometimes just real estate needs to recycle and needs to kind of go through all that. And usually luckily when you get a congressman in a town or commissioner or someone that says, you know what, we're going to give you some free money and grants, et cetera, to revitalize
that politics
exit.
Kicking in.
That's.
I have a question. I do have a question. How has your political background played into your hotel ownership? Like, how were you able to combine the worlds?
You know, to tell you the truth, like whether you work in politics or not, you should all talk to your commissioner or congressperson and have a relationship with that office. You never know when it comes in handy. But at the same time, like you should all be able to know who to vote for every election. Even there's an election coming up, midterm election coming up soon, you can't just like ignore it and not go to the ballots and vote. You need to vote and you need to understand what they're for. And it's now with AI and even now with like, you know, just social media, it's so easy to know what's going on and who's standing for what and whether you like that policy or not. And, you know, you need to be involved with that. When it came to politics, really came down to it, there wasn't a whole lot really involved with that. But I do know whenever I see someone speak and they hear what they have to, you know, like Darren Soto is here right now. Like, I really love what that man talks about, different things and what he's done for our county, what he's done for like our district and getting Brightline to like, you know, be connected with Sunrail and everything.
I just rode the Brightline from West Palm Beach to Fort Lauderdale when I was here a couple weeks ago. Oh my gosh, that was a great experience.
And now think about that and think about what would be like owning any type of business along those stops, right?
Oh my gosh.
Forget about along the route, along the stops, because that's when you can think like, you know what, when someone comes off, they want to get something to eat. When somebody gets off, maybe they want to get something nearby to stay at.
Especially like a restaurant or a place to stay or a place to live. Oh my goodness, absolutely. That was a great experience. It was a little bit more, I guess, from using other transportation, but it was worth every penny.
Yeah, and sometimes I need to take it to the right line. I'm thinking like, you know what, I can drive down. But you know, if you buy a ticket early enough, like it's the same price as gas and everything else. It's just like it's a better move.
It's a great experience. Yeah. I wish they had it in Atlanta. But no, thank you. I don't know. Is there anything else that you wanted to share?
No, that's pretty much it. I mean, look, I wish everyone the best when it comes to a journey, when it comes to entrepreneurship, and you know, never doubt yourself. Like, life is so short. Just, you know, if you want to own a business, if you want to go forward, find the right network to talk to. You know, even like getting on these podcasts like this and actually like listening to other people, and you know, like the education is just like, you know, it's constant. So you always have to learn, and you have to learn how to better yourself.
Thank you. Well, make sure you tune into the comments. I have my AI program to answer some of those questions or ask some of those questions Raj was talking about, as well as ways that you can connect with people to consult you on understanding the deals and understanding the numbers. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Davonne, Queen of Hotels. And thank you, Raj, so much for tuning in and taking the time out of your busy schedule to speak with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.